Space is one of the biggest challenges for retro video game collectors. Not everyone has a giant game room to display all of their collection in. And, well, neither do I. But that didn't stop me from building a space that not only houses my retro game collection, but is a space that I also game in, stream in, and work remotely in. So today I'm going to give you a tour of my game room, and hopefully that will give you some ideas of how you can make a small space work for your collecting goals. Let's get into it. Now keep in mind, it took me several iterations to finally find a configuration for my game room that works for me. If I'm being honest, I think I may have finally found my game room's final form. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and start the tour. We're going to start with the actual retro gaming collection and how I have that set up. Now you've seen the NES collection, so we're not really going to cover that. So instead we'll cover the rest of the Nintendo wall, plus some of the other stuff in my collection. And as I mentioned before, I originally had Oscar Media shelves, and those are really great if you're just displaying carts or box NES games. But as my collection evolved and I wanted to display larger things, they just really didn't work for the look that I was going for. So right now in the middle actually houses my entire N64 collection. I don't have a lot of games for the N64. I've basically been just picking up the games I played as a kid, complete in box. But I also wanted to pick up one of each of the N64s because I just think they look so cool on display. So next to that, I have my Super Nintendo collection. Again, pretty modest collection. Similar to the 64, I'm mostly just picking up the games that I loved and played as a kid, complete in box. Moving on down, we actually have the Zelda collection. I'm a huge Zelda fan, so I try to collect all the games and some memorabilia and systems. And below that is my wife's GameCube collection. Now, as you may have heard me mention in my NES video, another big reason that I picked the Billy bookcases is because you can really utilize the depth to really come up with some cool displays. And it also just lets you utilize the space more effectively. That's one thing you're going to hear me say a lot in this video is utilize space. And finally on the Nintendo wall is my Nintendo Switch collection. So another thing I did to utilize and save space was I actually 3D printed these small risers that lets me double stack Switch games on one shelf. I was really happy with how this turned out. So you have this front row of games here, and you can still see the titles of the games in the back. It really helps you, again, save and utilize space. That's another small thing that I kind of want to touch on here. Having a small game room actually does have its advantages. It keeps me really cognizant about space, right? Because when I'm at conventions and I see that really cool thing, I always have to stop and ask myself, where the hell am I going to put that? Because I don't know about you, but me at conventions for a while, it was kind of like this.
Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
And this last shelf just houses some graded games and my PSP collection, but we're not going to talk too much about that because this, my friends, that is a story for another time. Now we'll make our way over to the opposite side of the room, starting with my desk. This is where I work, game, and occasionally stream from. And over next to my desk is my 3D printer. I have a GDQ2. It's been great. I'm constantly printing things. I highly recommend getting a 3D printer if you're even remotely interested in it. On the shelf next to my desk is just some statues and stuff that I put on a small cube shelf. Nothing crazy here. So one of the many ways we try to conserve space was by taking the doors off of the closet in this bedroom. We also yanked out the built-in shelving in order to put an entertainment center in here and kind of build like a entertainment hovel, if you will. This space houses all of my gaming consoles, as well as my 3D printing supplies over here to the side. I do record video game gameplay and stream in this room as well. So you might be wondering how I do that with all of my consoles over here. Well, I actually use this HDMI splitter to split the connection between this television and my gaming monitor here. this connection actually routes through a capture card, which you can't see. So pretty much with the press of a button, I can pretty much instantly start streaming. And this does include our retro consoles, which we route through this RetroTink 5X. And stream them right to Twitch with just the press of a button. So whether I want to sit here at my desk and play video games, maybe record some gameplay, or just kick back, relax, and play on my TV, I'm covered. And of course, no game room would be complete without some mischievous, furry little friends. If you're curious what I mean by it took me several configurations to finally find one that worked, I'll scroll through some pictures of some of the setups I've had in this game room since I've been here the past 7 years. And some of these iterations worked, but there was always just something missing or something just didn't fit. And I often found myself still feeling constrained and not even wanting to be in my game room because it was just it felt so compressed and compacted. But after all these iterations and all these different configurations of my game room, I think I found one that I might just be finally happy with. It took over 7 years, a lot of rearranging, and a lot of headaches for both me and my wife, but I think we finally got there. Having this small space has really made me look at my collection and ask myself, what are my collecting goals? What do I want my collection to really be? I want my collection to have a theme, a collection that's me, not just a random assortment of retro games on a shelf. So for some parting thoughts, I'll leave you with this. Utilize your space effectively. Don't buy things just to buy them. Ask yourself, does this really fit into my collecting goals? Do I have the space for it? And finally, don't be afraid to purge things. Always prioritize your comfort in your game room over having stuff on your shelves. Make sure that your space is comfortable for you to want to be in. If you're like me and have a small space for your collection in your game room, I hope this video gave you some ideas. If you have any questions about my game room or if there's anything you want to see more of, as always, let me know in the comments. And I also love seeing pictures of other people's game rooms. Shoot me a DM on Twitter or Instagram. We'll see you next time.
Well, bye.